Hello everyone, welcome to another session on Python for data science. So today, basically, we'll discuss on how do you use external code in your Python program. So this external code might come from an external source, or it might be of say it might be some other additional code written by maybe a colleague or a friend. We'll just discuss on ways on how to use external Python code. So before that, we'll just basically understand how Python is basically structured. Okay, so Python basically has this particular set of built-in functions which are already available in the Python namespace. Right. So the first time you just launch Python, so you basically have a bunch of built-in functions which are directly available. Right. So common examples could be type, enumerate, or it could be anything like that. Okay, so the basic idea is whenever you launch the Python environment, you basically have a bunch of functions, a bunch of code which are already loaded in. Now say suppose you want to have some additional functionality. So this functionality say is available from an external library. So how do you get that into your Python environment is you basically first download the package using pip or any other method. Then after the library is loaded or the package is downloaded, you basically import functions into the current Python working environment, into the current Python namespace. How do you do that is basically you do an import. The keyword is basically called as import. After you import, you basically write the library name. So in this particular case, say I'm writing math because say suppose I want to calculate the square root. Right? So through this I get the square root. Now when you actually try to only use sqrt, you basically get the error because sqrt is not defined. So this happens because sqrt is not available in the Python namespace. So it's basically available in the math module. Okay, so you need to basically call this particular function from the math module. Okay, so this is one way of actually importing. So the first double example which you saw, you're just doing import math. So this is just one particular way. The other way is say just do from math import square root. When you actually write this, you can just directly call square root. Okay, square root is already done. It might already be in the namespace. So let's use something like factorial. Okay, so you can directly call factorial over here instead of doing math dot factorial, because you have basically imported this particular function into the namespace. So what is the other way? The other way is you just do a from math import this thing start. So basically what does it do is it basically imports all of your functions, all of your classes. It basically imports the whole module into the Python namespace. This usually is not preferable or not advised because it just fills up the namespace with a lot of additional information which we actually might not need at all. At this particular point, we might actually not need all of those. So they just clutter the Python namespace, a lot of file names, a lot of attributes, lots of classes, so lots of additional this thing which might not actually be required. That's why it's not usually preferred. This one or this one is what is usually preferred. So yeah, this is how you basically import the downloaded library. So basically, again, remember the previous questions. Where do you basically download? You basically download this from you basically use a command pip to download external libraries. If you want to download sklearn, how do you download? You just do pip install sklearn. So coming to the next concept being basically what is pip. So pip is nothing but sort of a package management system. Right, so it's basically a package management system used to install as well as manage Python packages. So there's something called as Python package index. So pip is basically that package management system which takes care of all of this. So you can. So how do you basically install it? I suppose you just do so whenever you do a pip install sklearn, so you basically download the latest version of the sklearn which is available in Python package index. Now, it is also possible that, say, suppose you want to have some specific version of a library. I want to have maybe some specific version, so maybe 12 or 14. Say you want to do a 20.1. So you have a pertinent certain specific section, certain specific version number. So it's also possible you can just directly mention specific version number. Now this is how you import, you install. Say suppose you want to upgrade a library. So basically, how do you upgrade a library? Is nothing but you just do a pip install. So this is basically the command on how do you basically upgrade a library. Now suppose you want to uninstall the library. So it's again you just replace pip uninstall sklearn. So yeah, this is how you basically import external code into your Python environment or Python namespace. Now say suppose you have an suppose you're working on a project where the people have already written additional code internally, and then say within the team people have already written additional code, and you're just basically supposed to call these code as functions. So how does it work? Again, is again very similar to your packages. So you basically, whatever is the folder name or the main folder name, you just basically do an import, and all these objects will get imported in the library in the namespace. So basically, whenever you do an import, right, there's certain conditions which needs to be met. Certain conditions are these are not particular conditions, but it basically tells you whenever you write an import, right, whenever you write an import statement, it basically tells you where and all does the Python interpreter search, right? So see, if you're planning to use an like your own library, your own module, your own code base, as you're basically trying to import your code base as a package in Python. So you basically need to make sure that one, it is a system path. This particular folder or path or file should be the system path. So if not in the system path, it's in the Python path, or it could be in the current working directory. If that's also fine, that also would work. So if it's not then either of these three paths, what you can basically do is you can basically add this particular path. So you can add this particular path to the places where the Python interpreter searches. So for that, there's basically you just do an import sys. So you just do sys.path.append append. So basically, what this particular command does is it basically appends wherever you have stored your folder to the list where the Python interpreter searches. So if say trying to maybe import a file called addition.py, right? So if your file is not there in the Python path, it's not there in system path, it's not there in the current working directory. If it's not there in either of these, then obviously it'll throw an error. So now say you kept this particular file addition.py in your desktop. How do you make sure the Python program searches for that file in the desktop? Is you basically add that particular location, the sys path. After you add that particular location, sys path, it automatically imports all of the available functions or methods in the file, depending on how do you call it. And if you do a import star, import everything. If you import a specific function, it also imports a specific function as well. Okay, guys, then I think this covers the important which I want to discuss in this session. Let's again meet in the next session.